Hello friends, welcome to Beyond Careers. I am Rajshek Reddy. Today what we will learn is how to create your own AI chatbot. Okay, so we will go through step by step how to create this. This chatbot is basically used um, to ask any questions. You can ask any technical questions and then it'll return you the reply. Okay, so we are going to use as minimum technology as possible. So one is we are going to use Groq, and then the other one is Spring Boot and HTML, CSS, the basic one to kind of have a UI. Okay, so we are going to expose an API from the Spring Boot so that you can call the API. Okay, so what we'll learn today, so building a chatbot with Groq, Spring Boot and HTML, CSS, you can ask any technical questions and it will respond to the reply. Okay, so this is the overall exercise or learning what we're going to do. So what is a chatbot? What, why use Groq? Overview of technologies like Groq API for API responses, Spring Boot for backend API, and HTML, CSS. Okay, so what is a chatbot? A chatbot is a software application designed to simulate human conversation. Okay, so through text or voice interaction. But for this exercise or for this learning, we are going to just use the text based. Okay, so it can be used for customer support, personal assistant, automation, or entertainment. So types of chatbot. So we have rule-based chatbot, follow predefined rules and decision trees. So we are going to, look into the rule-based for now, and AI-powered chatbot use NLP and then machine learning to understand user intent and then respond dynamically. Okay, and then hybrid chatbot combine rule-based and AI for better efficiency. Okay, so how chatbot works? You have a user input, a message is received. It can be a text box, it can be a voice or whatever, and a processing layer. So basically it's the AI which processes the inputs and determines the response generation. The chatbot returns a response, text, image, whatever you want. So example is Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, WhatsApp bots, customer service bots, etc. Okay, so why use Groq? Groq is an AI interface engine optimized for high speed processing of large language models. It is a great choice for chatbots due to its efficiency in handling AI models. Okay, so key benefits of Groq: fast API processing, handles large AI models with low latency, and it is scalable, can be deployed across multiple applications, and then it's cost effective, so more efficient than traditional cloud AI solutions. Supports LLMs, so works well with models like Llama 3, whatever this version 8192, which we are going to use for this tutorial. So what LLM we are going to use is Llama 3-8B-8192. Okay, compared to OpenAI and Google Gemini, Groq offers better speed and cost advantage for businesses needing real-time AI responses. Of course, we are not endorsing this is better, that is better. For this exercise, we have just used this. So you are free to choose whatever you want. So for the whole exercise, you don't need any subscription. It is all free. So there is nothing. All you have to do is you have to register for the API key in the Groq, which we will eventually, show that. Okay, so and then what are the overall technologies used is in this chatbot project? We use three main technologies: Groq API, Spring Boot manage API request and integrates with Groq, HTML, CSS, basic UI for the user to send and receive messages. Okay, so how do you start this? You kind of set up the project, install the Java, Spring Boot, Maven, and then you're going to create the Spring Boot project using the Spring Init or a Spring Initializer, and then add dependencies, Spring Web, REST templates, and then so we are kind of not going in detail about Spring Boot and all at this point because that's not in the scope, but we are going to kind of show how to create the API and then how do you call that. So that's the scope of this exercise. Okay, so I assume you already know Spring Boot and then HTML. The basic is enough. So for this we don't need too advanced. The basic, how do you call the API, and then how do you call from the controller. A very simple exercise we are going to kind of cover, so that the intention is to give you a end-to-end from the UI, that's a HTML, CSS to the Spring Boot, and then through the LLM, how does the whole flow works. That is the intent. Okay. And yeah, so this is one of the this one module we are going to create, creating the front end, basic UI and basic style, and then Ajax, we are going to use the Ajax. Okay, so that is the overall exercise or the learnings what we are going to do. And then how do you run the test and testing the chatbot, and then deploying the chatbot. So this is an exercise for you to kind of take it forward if you want to take it more advanced, where you want to host it, and then you can call it from remote as well, and then hosting the front end on Netlify or Vessel, and then you can use Docker. So there is no limit for that. So okay, so that's up to you how much you wanted to extend this whole learning. Okay, so with that, so let's get to the actual this one. I will show you how the UI works, how the whole exercise works. So let me kind of show you. This is the AI chatbot. So what you're going to do, this is the final output. So if you see, you're going, when you hit the localhost 8080, and then there's a chat.html page. So suppose I will ask what is React and how to learn React. Okay, so when you hit the send, so it goes to the Groq, and then it kind of talks to the LLM, and then it kind of returns this one. Okay, so we have just create a basic UI, so, and it will return this whole this one, and a nicely formatted one. Okay, so this is just a sample. You can use this chat for your own specific. It can be technical, it can be edutech, it can be anything else you wanted to ask. So you can accordingly use the right LLMs, and then based on your costing, based on the purpose, if you are using for financial this one, whatever. But this I have just given an example for the technical aspect, when we wanted to ask any technical question. So but of course you are free to use it for anything else. Okay, so this is how you get this response. So now, okay, so it's going to give as detailed as possible. So let's kind of wait for this one, and then we can kind of ask some other specific question. Okay, yeah, so it's giving all these things. So let's wait, let's see what all it can give. Okay, so this is a fantastic response, which is good enough for anyone to learn React and things like that. But of course we are not focusing on the content, but we are more focused on the overall end-to-end solution of chatbot. Okay, so we are not actually evaluating this response at this point. Evaluation, I think, is a different topic altogether. Yeah, so that LLM evaluation you can do based on your need and this one. So for example, we will ask what is virtual DOM. Okay, we will see what the response it gives. What is it? Okay, let's see. Yeah, of course, it's given a very this one, even though we asked for 2 lines, of course it's given 3, 4, 5 lines. Of course, again, it depends the line as per the LLM, and then as per our UI, so which we will not worry too much. But yeah, so this is how you can ask any technical questions, and it will give you a response. So okay, so now next let's dive into how do we implement, and then what are the prerequisite and things like that. Okay, so you got an idea what you're going to kind of implement in this exercise. Yeah, all right. So before starting anything, First thing is, go to the Groq website, and then you need to create your account. The account is very simple. Click on this Dev console, and then you can give your Google or whatever email ID you wanted to sign up. And then once you sign up, this is where you kind of land. So you can just come. This is the place where you kind of land, and then all you have to do is just go to the API key, and then you can create an API key. You can give whatever name you want, and since I've already created, and I've just kind of this is my API key, and then just I copy it. Okay, so this is all you need to do. There is nothing else you need to do other than just creating an API key, and that is what you're going to use it for your Spring Boot. So when you're calling the APIs, so you're going to give the API key. Okay, so first and foremost is just register and then get this API key. Make a note of it, and then you can kind of use it later when we are actually implementing the Spring Boot. All right, go to the Spring Initializer, and then create a simple project and name it as demo or whatever name you wanted to give it, and then ensure you have the dependency Spring Web and REST templates. This is for actually API calls, which I assume you know the basics of Spring Boot. Okay, so now I have created this project demo. I named it as demo, and then if you see here, I have the basic, the dev tools, and then web services and startup web. Okay, so I have not added any more dependencies, just the basic dependencies, and we are going to create this project in a very simple way, very understandable way. Okay, so that way, not adding too complex things. So we are just going to create a bare minimum thing. Okay, so what we have done is we have created a controller. Okay, and then in the controller, what I've done is I've just added just a controller with post API, and then I've just given it as a chat. This is just for us to test, okay, the whole setup is working fine or not. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm just accepting some message from here, and then I'm just saying, okay, received message, and then we are kind of returning this message. Okay, so this is the simple this one. We will kind of test it. If it is working fine, then we will actually go for the actual implementation. Okay, so let's do a curl and see if we are actually getting the response for this. Yeah, okay, so let's open a terminal, and what we are going to do is we are just calling this curl post, and this is our API slash chat, and then we are kind of saying message. Okay, and then this is a keyword, and then this is a message what we are passing. So what happens, let's hit enter. So we have kind of getting this received message, hello. Okay, so our API, the whole setup, the Spring Boot is working fine. So now let's actually implement the real Groq and the LLM aspect. Okay, so let's go to the Spring Boot, and then let's implement the functionality. Okay, so just to ensure what we called from the API, and then this one, so we called this chat, and we said received message, and what exactly is the message. So technically this whole setup is working, your dependency, everything is working. So now let's kind of actually implement the actual API. So what we are going to do is we need two things. One is the Groq API, and the other one is Groq endpoint. Okay, so let's kind of ensure we have that. So this is where we have, and yeah, so this is the two things, Groq API URL. This is a URL where this is the endpoint, and this is the API key. Okay, so this API key I've copied it and then I pasted. Again, I'm reiterating, whatever API key you have to paste it here, and then also don't copy and paste this API, because eventually after this exercise I'm going to delete this, so it will not work for you. Okay, so ensure you paste your API, so don't copy and then paste this. Okay, So now, let's kind of implement the actual methods. Uh, we are going to create a method called chat1 because already chat we have used. So what I'm going to do is let me implement that line by line, and then I will explain everything by line. Okay. Yeah. So now what we have done is we have kind of having created a one more post mapping, and we have named it as chat1. Okay, so what it is actually taking us, it is taking the message from the user, and then actually it is going to send it to the Groq, and then Groq will actually talk to the LMM and then give the response. So what we are doing is we are checking if there is any empty message, then we are going to kind of return content cannot be this one. This is just a safe programming. So yeah, so from this exercise point of view, yeah, it's up to you, but it's always a good practice to implement all the basics. Okay, so we are actually doing all this header construction here. So what we are doing is we are actually passing the API key, and then we are saying all the application JSON, media type, all those things, and then this is all the normal regular implementation of APIs. And then what we are doing is, this is very important, we need to construct the role and the content. So the role is as a user, and the content is whatever the message we get from the front end, that is either your mobile app or your website or web page or whatever, right? So this message, it's going to extract and then put it as a construct this. Okay, and then message list, and then we are passing this, and then this is one other important thing, we have to define what LLM we are going to use. I am currently using LLM llama -8b 8192. Of course, this keeps changing in terms of new versions will keep coming and things like that. You can always go to the Groq website and then figure out what LLM you wanted to use. Okay, and then all this request body, user message, headers, everything is constructed, and then we are going to make a normal HTTP. You can use Ajax, you can use whatever here API you want to do call. So the point is that freedom you have, so whatever you want to do kind of use. And then finally what we are doing is, after this so we are waiting for the response. So once the response comes, we are actually getting the response body, and then we are checking whether it's null. If it is not null, then what we do is we are actually sending back the message to the as a response. Okay, so that is what we are actually passing this response. Okay, if not, we are handling this error messages if there is any this one. So we are handling the try catch, all those things. Okay, so and then we are actually, the response has been returned here. Okay, so response string message get content. So this get content, you are actually passing that. Okay, so you understood, right? So basically what you have to do, first thing is you need to kind of ensure all your header is constructed properly, and then your API key is passed as part of this one, and then you're going to define or specify which model you're going to use, and then you have to actually give the Groq API endpoint, so which is this one. So if you see, right, this is the endpoint, http api.groq.com/openapi v1 chat completion. So this is what we have to give here, and then we are saying it's a post this one, we are passing that, and then if it is successful, what we are doing is we are extracting that content and then passing that as a response. Okay, so this is the response. Of course, these are all additional things just to ensure your programming is written well. So if there is any issues, we are catching it, and then any exceptions, we are kind of, this is the try catch, and then these are the additional this one code you have here. But main focus is you need to focus on this few lines. Okay, so now let's do a curl and see how the response is, and then what exactly we get. Yeah, okay, so let's open a terminal and then hit the API. Okay, so let's run this just to ensure the it is run as a Spring Boot app. So it is listening on port 8080. So let's call this API from our terminal. Okay, so we'll use the curl and check how it works, and later we will implement the UI. So let's open a terminal and then call the curl. Okay, I've opened the Windows terminal, sorry, the terminal, command terminal. Okay, so now in the terminal, let's use the curl and then hit our API, the post API, and then let's see what is the response we get. Yeah, so I'm just doing this, and then what I'm doing is localhost 8080 port /API /chat1. Chat1 is actually where we have implemented. Yeah, and then we are passing this as a message, as a key value pair, so message, and then how to learn React. Okay, so this is a message, this is a command, this is a text what the user intends. Okay, so when we hit this, let's see what it returns. Okay, awesome. So what it has done, response, so we see this response, and then we see learning React. Here is a comprehensive guide to learn your get started. Step 1, learn the basics of JavaScript, blah blah blah. Before diving into React, make sure you have a good grasp, blah blah blah, JavaScript variable, all those things. It's given a lengthy message, so fantastic response it is given. Okay, so now we will kind of figure out how do we make this from a UI. Okay, so now you understood, right, how the whole flow happens. So we are actually calling an API, the API in the Spring Boot. The Spring Boot in turn will call the Groq API, and then the actual API response is kind of returned. So you can use this for anything. So I can use this, for example, the message, how to, you know, learn React. Give me just 5 lines. Okay, I can specify those. Okay, so we'll see what, see, it is given in 5 lines or whatever, the stripped down version of that. Okay, so so let's try to say something else. SQL 10 lines. Okay, so we'll see what response it can see. So SQL, here is a condensed 10-line step guide to learn SQL. Okay, so you can give whatever technical questions you wanted to ask, and then the chatbot will return. So that is the end goal, what we wanted to implement from the UI. But from an API perspective, it is working. Your Spring Boot is working. And so your APIs you are able to call from curl, and or might be you can use a postman or whatever. So curl is more easier, so that's why I've used curl. So but of course we are going to use this from the HTML CSS, and then we will see how it works. Okay, so let's move on to the HTML coding. Yeah, okay, all right. So I've created a simple HTML file, chat.html. Okay, and this is the core of the whole UI, but of course I'm not going through all this CSS and things like that, because that's up to you how you wanted to implement. But the main functionality I'm going to explain. Okay, so I have a button here, and then there is a message, function called send message on click. And this send message, what it's actually doing is it's picking the user entered text, and then what it's going to do is it's going to call this API. Okay, http localhost 8080 API /chat1. Okay, and then the method is post, content type, all those things, and then this message I'm passing as part of the body. Okay, and then I wait for the response. Once the response comes, I kind of display the response. Okay, display the response, I'm putting that into the text box. Okay, so this is what it is. So set timeout or whatever. So this I'm picking character by character, and then actually I'm doing. So this is all up to you how you wanted to show it in the UI, but I've just kind of given like a typewriter effect so that every character is shown in a sequential way. Okay, so this is how the UI. So UI you call the API. Okay, so now you understood the overall end to end. How do you implement the chatbot? So of course this chatbots you can implement for whatever domain you want to do, or whatever business, for financial services or tech or healthcare or whatever. So this is the overall learning for how to create a chatbot. Okay, so I will show you again how the UI will look. Let's open the UI and then you'll get an idea. Yeah. Okay, so I have opened the Chrome, localhost, chat, and this is how my UI looks like. So the same what we asked, what is React? Let's see what it says. Okay, what's the response? So what do we got it in the curl? When we hit using the curl, the same response we are kind of getting it. Okay, so what is React? So this one, and then so here we are asking a little different, what is React. In our curl we asked how to learn React, so the same question let's ask. Okay, so I will just refresh this. How to learn React. Yeah, so the same thing you saw through the API call using curl, the same response you are getting it here. Okay, so this is how you implement a basic chatbot. Okay, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. We will come out with more such